Hi everyone, welcome back to class. What we want to discuss in today's class is integration of metabolic pathway. Integration of metabolic pathway. And we are discussing it by looking at the metabolism of different molecules such as carbohydrates, proteins, fat, and seeing their relationship with the Krebs cycle, which is also the TCA cycle. So that is what we want to talk about today. Let's dive into it proper. Let's say you just finish eating a bowl of food, and in that food you are able to get carbohydrates, you get protein, you get fat in that food that you just finished eating. Now, let's remember our basic biology class where we are taught about food digestion, the processes in which the food takes from our mouth until it digests to what will be needed by the body. Carbohydrates will be broken down and given, and it will give us glucose. So let's put glucose here. When protein is being broken down, it will give us amino acids. And when fat is broken down, it gives us fatty acids and glycerol. Now, what will now happen to all these molecules in the system? Now, first, let's start with glucose. Glucose will move into the glycolysis pathway. And in our previous class, remember we said glycolysis pathway occurs in the cytosol of the cell. So glucose will move and enter and be used by glycolysis pathway. What will happen to amino acid? We undergo transamination, and what we understand by transamination is the removal of amino group. Remember our amino acid, the structure of our amino acid. We said it has carboxylic side and a carboxylic side, and it has an amino side. Now, the work of transamination, what it does is that it removes that amino side and transfer it into onto another ketone acid. So with that, it will form a new amino acid and also a new ketone acid. So now through transamination, that is what amino acids will undergo. Let's now move to fat. It will undergo beta oxidation. Beta oxidation. Now let's try to take them one after the other. We spoke extensively on glycolysis in our previous class, so I will not be dwelling more on it. I will try and leave the link to that video in the description box so that you can actually follow and learn more about glycolysis. But the summary about glycolysis is that it helps to break the molecule of glucose that enters into pyruvate. And why do we need it? It's just for energy. So now, when glycolysis will now give us pyruvate. Now let's move to the protein side. When we do this, when this is being carried out on this amino acid, different things could happen. One, it could lead to formation of new protein. Remember that amino acids are building blocks of protein, so it could lead to formation of new protein here. And apart from that, things or products of this transamination can also be stored in form of glycogen and or fats. Now let's move on to the third one, which is fat. We have beta oxidation. What will happen there? Now, different things can also happen under beta oxidation. One, the product gluten can be stored in form of triglyceride in fat cell. Now, another thing is that it can also be synthesized into cellular membrane. So under the beta oxidation, now we said it could be converted to triglyceride, which can be stored in fat cell. Now also, it can be synthesized into cellular membrane. Now, let's move on. Let's come back to this glycolysis. This pyruvate can now be further converted to acetyl-CoA with the help of the enzyme pyruvate dehydrogenase. So it's an enzyme complex that contains up to 5 enzymes that helps in the conversion of those pyruvate molecule to to acetyl CoA. So from here, pyruvates, we now have acetyl CoA. Another thing that can happen here through this transformation process is that there could be production of acetyl CoA from here. From here also, we can now get acetyl CoA can also be produced from here. With all this, let's try and now remember our Krebs cycle, which is our TCA cycle. That cycle, what the entry of that cycle is, the molecule that enters into that cycle is acetyl CoA. See, with that, can you now see that when there is metabolism of carbohydrates, metabolism of protein, metabolism of fats, the product that we could get there, which is the acetyl CoA here, we got acetyl CoA here, another acetyl CoA here, can now enter into the Krebs cycle. So this will now enter into the TCA cycle. So let's take for example that this is our TCA cycle that we have here, TCA. So this one we enters into this place, this we enters here, and this as here. And from TCA, when a molecule of acetyl CoA enters into TCA, so we'll get one GTP. So it gives us GTP. Now, if it were to be, let's say we started with this carbohydrate. Remember, we said that glycolysis will give us 2 molecules of pyruvate. So definitely, when it gives us 2 molecules of pyruvate, then we'll be having 2 molecules of acetyl CoA produced here. So when one enter and complete the cycle, we have 1 molecule of GTP. Then the second one also, we enter, we have another molecule of GTP, and that is how we get energy from there. Another thing is that from here, from this our TCA cycle, apart from the GTP that we have from this TCA cycle, we now have different electron carriers that are being produced inside this TCA cycle. So these electron carriers, we have the NADH and we have the FADH2. So here we have, these are electron carriers, and when it's just like I used to describe them, they are like a pregnant woman. You know, a pregnant woman is just like a vehicle helping us in carrying the child till delivery point. So now, from this TCA, there is electron. It's helping us to carry this electron and enters into the electron transport chain, where it will give birth to the electron. Do you understand? Now, it's like, is this carrier will now carry the electrons, enter into the electron transport chain. Upon entry of electron into the electron transport chain, sorry, it will now be converted into ATP. This ATP is the fuel that the cell needs to function in our system. I hope you understand everything very well now. So this is just a summary of everything about the integration of metabolic pathway, which we can also say that it's just the interconversion of how they enters into each other. Number one importance of this that it is being used by the cell to maintain homeostasis. Another thing is for energy production, and another thing is for them to be able to respond very well to the environment. I hope we understand everything about integration of metabolic pathway, how everything interwoven into each other. So with this, we've come to the end of today's class. If you have any question for me, please drop them in the comment section, and I promise to take my time and answer to every of your questions. For my returning subscribers, thank you very much for your support. I really appreciate it. And for those that have not subscribed, please subscribe so that we give this channel visibility for other people to also learn and enjoy what we are enjoying here together. See you in the next class. Bye bye.